Hello and welcome to another video from Minus Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles. And today we are looking at the 1976 release by World Distributors from their Star Trek series of annuals. And this particular annual we are looking at today is from 1976, and it was released in late 1975 for the upcoming 1976 year. Okay, and it's all based on the Star Trek original television series from the 1960s. Okay, so this is the annual in front of us, and this is the front cover. And at the very top, it says Star Trek Annual 1976. And there you can see an image of Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock and the USS Enterprise flying through space. And it's got authorised edition as seen on BBC TV. Okay, so that's the front cover. Let's spin it over. And what have we got on the back? Well, nothing exciting on the back. We've got the USS Enterprise just doing some orbits around the planet and then zooming off. Got fire coming out of its back there. I don't quite know why I do that, because it's you don't see that on screen. But anyway, and at the very bottom it's got SBN number, which is 72350325 and 7. And let's just have a quick look at the spline. And here you can see it says Star Trek 1976 Annual World Distributors. And there we have it. Okay, that is the front and back covers. I'm quite eager to get inside, so let's open it up and have a look at the contents. Okay, I've opened the annual, and this is what we got inside. So this is inside the front cover, and you can see you've got Spock, Kirk, and one of the other crew members with their phasers drawn on some kind of dinosaur or Godzilla type. You got Scotty here. It looks like Scott. I'm presuming it's Scott in his red shirt. And you got the USS Enterprise at the top there. And unfortunately for this one has actually been price clipped. So there was a corner here that had the price that it was originally sold for. And it had some lines along there, so you could clip it off if you was giving it as a gift. And this one has actually been clipped off. Okay, so that's inside the front cover. Let's turn it over. And here we see Star Trek Annual 1976 contents, strip stories. So we've got Ice Journey and Death of a Star. The features, we've got Star Facts 1, A Cosmic Crossword, Warp Factor 8, Star Facts 2, Space Age Vocabulary. And it's copyright 1975. And it says, by Paramount Pictures Corporation, all rights reserved, including the right of reproduction in whole or in part of any form. Published in Great Britain by World Distributors Manchester Limited. And it's got printed in Great Britain by Gerard and Son Limited, Norwich. And the SBN numbers there again. And then you've got an image again of Kirk and Spock running away from a Cyclops monster. And there's somebody laying down on the ground there. Okay, so the first story we come to is called Star Trek. It's called Ice Journey, Star Trek Ice Journey, and this is part 1. And there you can see this is a prequel of what's going to happen. So this is in the middle of the story. So let's turn it over, and this is the start of the story. And it says Captain's Log, Stardate 2027.3, approaching planet Flow 1 on special survey assignment for the Federation for Command Order F-1221. So that's how it all started, and there you can see it's a full colour comic strip story. You can see the Spock and Kirk, and I think that's probably Uhura getting ready to go down to a planet, and they're in their suit. Pretty good actually picture of William Shatner. That is surprisingly good likeness. But yeah, full colour stories again, which was quite unusual because full colour was quite expensive. Back in the day, but the Star Trek ones always tried to do. They didn't do a great deal of other items in the book, so the stories were actually in full colour. And then we get to Star Facts, information about stars and so on. And then we've got the Cosmic Crossword. As you can see, this one is untouched, but it is obviously all the questions there, and you do have the answers at the bottom there. And now back onto the second part of the same story, which is Ice Journey. And you can see that Kirk and Uhura have been caught. I think that's Kirk. It is Kirk, yeah, and there's Spock there. And again, it's full colour, but this is the second half of the same story. So it's quite a long story, and these stories were wrote specifically for these annuals, so you couldn't actually get this story anywhere else. You had to have the annual, so they were pretty much unique stories for these books. And now we're coming to the end of that first story, and there we have a game in the center pages. So all you need for this is a dice and some buttons, and you can play the Warp Factor 8 board game, which is quite simple. Just follow the lines around the board and follow what, if you land on them, you follow the what you need to do, and there's the finish there. But if you overshoot the finish there, you start again. Interested. So Star Facts 2, again information on stars, and then we come into the second story, which is Deaths of a Star, and it says, trapped on a vertical keg of cosmic dynamite, Captain Kirk and the Star Trek crew become an unwilling captive audience to the most shattering spectacle in all the galaxy, a star going nova. But the natural catalysm takes on tragic overtones when a mysterious old woman's life is mysteriously linked to a strange cosmic force. Okay, and there we have Captain's Log, Stardate 3333.3. Our mission is to study and record from a safe distance the final death throe of the star Isis. According to our calculations, this gem of space has only 48 hours before it explodes, destroying everything for billions upon billions of cubic miles. Fortunately, this solar system is uninhabited, and that's what they think. But again, full colour story. Again, nice colour graphics, images, drawings, Nurse Chapel, Lieutenant Uhura, Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. Yeah, and again, it's a unique story, specifically for the annual. And then we come on to Space Age vocabulary, and it's all information, again, based on real information. This is all on planets and so on, and what these words mean. And then we go on to Star Trek Part 2, Death of a Star, and this is the second part in the same comic strip story, featuring Kirk, Spock, Uhura and Nurse Chapel on a planet, and then there's Scotty there and Sulu on the Enterprise. And here we go again. The planet is exploding right now, sir. And there you can see the ship being thrown by the explosion of the planet, and that brings us to the end of the story. And inside the back cover, we've got the same image as what was inside the front cover. Okay, so that is the Star Trek annual from 1976. So, big question, how well do these annuals do? Well, as with all the annuals of the time, in the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s, annuals were a very, very big thing, because there was no such thing as video recorders or DVD players or live streaming. If you wanted to watch your programs, you had to wait for them to come on and be in front of the telly when they were being played. Otherwise, you missed them. And if you missed them, well, then you had to wait for a rerun. And sometimes those reruns didn't happen for years. So if you missed the program, well, tough luck. You know, not a lot you could do about it. But why your program wasn't on air, you did have things like these annuals to look at and relive your favourite television programs, because they were all based on very popular television programs at the time. There's also annuals on football teams and all sorts of other things, but the TV ones were the big ones that were all the most popular, and they were all mass produced. They appeared in every kid's stockings, because all these were released late in the year prior to the date on the annual. So this one, annual 1976, was released September, October time, maybe November time, 1975. So it was in time for the Christmas buying. So I mean, anyone that was into Star Trek would always end up with an annual of some kind, some year or other in their particular Christmas stocking or Christmas sack. depending on what year they were into it. So, but yeah, I mean, and don't forget, back in the 70s, well, that was when we had the original series being rerun again. Because originally it was in the 60s, 66 to 69, I think it originally ran for. And then it was rerun again in the 70s, again on prime time television. So it was a big audience again. And that obviously prompted the movies. And this was quite one of the later annuals, which was not long before Star Trek The Motion Picture was actually made. I think the Star Trek Motion Picture went in production in 1978 and was released in 1979. So yeah, it was the annuals were a very, very big thing. Everybody had them, and they were mass produced. Now, 1976, we're talking 48 years ago when this particular annual was published, or 49 years ago, almost 50 years ago. And finding them now is not quite as easy as it used to be. Going back 10 years ago, you could pick these up and they were appearing on platforms everywhere. Nowadays, they're becoming harder and harder to find, especially in very good condition. Obviously, when they appear on the platforms, you do need to be a little bit wary of the conditions. But as you can see, this particular one is in very good condition. There are a few marks on it. There's a few scuffs at the top here. There's a scuff right at the very top of the spline, and on the corner edges there's a few little dinks, but generally, as you saw inside the annual, it is in fantastic condition. No writing or damage or markings. Shame it's been price clipped, but that doesn't really affect the annual in any way. So I mean, this particular one is fabulous, and finding these particular annuals in this condition now is not as easy to say, not as easy as it used to be. They are getting more and more difficult to find. However, we at Midas Touch have managed to find a few, and they're currently available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to quite simply by clicking the link below. It'll take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Star Trek items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody. And I'm absolutely positive that you won't want to miss this, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you are looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or maybe just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed this very short video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.